Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to prime and paint the base color of the GSB Full Armor Gundam RX781. I got this kit from my friend Omar, aka Ayor or Die. I primed this with Vallejo Gray primers back in 2014. As you can see, it's super cured now. Now let's do zenithal priming again. We'll start with Vallejo Mecha Primer Black. I mix the primer black with some flow improver and thinner. I roughly the ratio is around 5 parts paint and 1 part thinner and 1 part flow improver. Acrylics are notorious for being inconsistent with in terms of their viscosity and their thickness. So much like acrylics for painting on canvas, you should know how to mix them, especially for this hobby, you should know how to mix them properly for airbrushing. A nice fluid milky texture is a must. It should slide through the glass cup where I mix the colors, but at the same time it should be sticky enough. If you don't thin enough, it might clog your airbrush or you will produce a sandy texture. It will dry mid-air, which is really undesirable. If you thin too much, well, it will run all over the kit. Even with enough experience using a certain medium, like for example with this one, I've been using Vallejo since like 2001. You should have a test paper when using the airbrush. You should never spray it directly to the kit after mixing. You should test it on a piece of paper. Do not attempt to cover the whole thing in one pass. I think I primed this 3 times with the black. As you can see, the primer dries fast. I was able to handle this shield to paint the other side, but I wouldn't recommend this. You should find a way to prop the pieces properly. I clean my AB every after cups of paints. I use a small amount of Vallejo airbrush cleaner. Again, don't do this. I'm not scratching it with my nails. I'm just rubbing it with my fingers, but it's pretty strong stuff. I was actually surprised that I could handle the prime pieces like this, but I really wouldn't recommend this. Same as the shield parts, I was able to handle the main piece of the kit like this. So I was able to paint the undersides while handling the freshly primed parts of the kit. Again, I wouldn't recommend handling your kit like this while priming or while painting. You should find a way to prop them so that you won't need to handle them like this. I painted a lot of smaller pieces, but that's like 3 hours of footage. So I trimmed it down to 10 minutes. I'm only showing this big piece. Now let's do zenithal priming again. I'm not using white this time. I'm using sand primer because I wanted my greens later to have more depth and more color or a bit more vibrant than usual. So I opted not to use white for the highlights. I'm thinning with thinner and flow improver. You have to have a little bit more control here. So I adjusted the knob at the back of my airbrush so that I could control the paint flow better. The initial shading is a bit rough, but I'm going to soften it up later with another run or another coat of the highlights. Much like how we primed our pilots with my other video, I'm simulating a source of light with this one. So the source of light is obviously from the right upper right side again. So I'm imagining that most of the lights are coming from the right. This is pretty similar with pre-shading, but in pre-shading you basically highlight each section of the armor parts. With this one, we're kind of simulating where the light is coming from. Since we are trying to simulate the light source, where the light is coming from, I did not have to paint the undersides and the back parts of the kit. We're done with the primers. Now off to coloring. I chose the olive green for this one because it looks really military. But I want my green to be really vibrant because it's going to be toned down once I start washes and weathering. So it's important for me to make it really bright and vibrant at the start. To make the olive green more vibrant, I added yellow. So now we'll have a base which is colorful and vibrant, but it's going to be toned down by weathering and washes later. I added a couple of drops of white to the mixture, and to be honest, I wasn't really happy with the result after. I should have added sand primer instead. The white kinda killed the vibrance of the yellows and greens, so after painting, I kinda cheated. I'll show you later in the video what I did. Much like the primers, we're trying to simulate the light source here. So we're painting more on the right side because we're imagining that the light source is from the right. That's it. We're done with the base coats. The base coat, the green base coat. It's a mixture of yellow and olive green. I like it so far, and you could see the zenithal lighting showing through. But I thought it needed a little more punch. Again, I'm not scratching the surface. I'm just checking if the texture is smooth. I wanted to exaggerate the source of light further, so I decided to use olive green mixed with sand primer because sand primer is lighter than the yellow. So you could see here after mixing, well, I'm going to spray the sand primer olive green mixture. Again, I had to handle the shield like this, but as you can see, the paints are dry already. I wasn't able to record this part because I was so eager to cheat and make the greens more vibrant. So I sprayed a thin amount of yellows on the whole kit. Here's my little Gunpla secret when it comes to painting with Vallejo acrylics. I spray a thin amount of matte varnish after base coats. Actually, I also spray a thin amount of matte varnish after detail painting, another thin amount of matte varnish after hand painting, then a gloss varnish before the washes, then another round of matte varnish before the other weathering technique. So even though I combine different kinds of Vallejo paints, I'm not exclusively using Mecha colors before. Um, my painted kits are pretty strong and durable because I sprayed them with a lot of matte varnishes all throughout my process. We're done with the base coat. So now we're going to let this cure for a day or maybe a couple of days. Then we'll do masking afterwards. Then paint the rest of the other colors. We don't really need to let it cure for a day or two, but I want to prep more kits for painting the next few days. That's it. This is part one of our painting process of the GSB Full Armor Gundam RX781. I hope you like this video. Bye!